We're going to talk to this evening John Dugan from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Grandpa Sawyer. Guys, please welcome to the show, film from October 1st, 1974. We welcome John Dugan. John, welcome to Rockin' Boxes Presents this week. How are you?
Fine. How you doing, Sean?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks very much. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the burning question, I guess, that's been not been bugging me, but how did you get the role of Grandpa Sawyer?
Do you want the short, true answer? Or do you want me to make up a bunch of shit?
Whatever makes you, whatever.
The bottom line is Kim Henkel, the writer-producer, was my brother-in-law. He was married to my late sister, Paula. So, you know, he being a writer and me being an actor, it just kind of worked out. I was doing a children's play in Chicago called The Terrible Tales, in tights, dancing around, telling folk tales from around the world to do this thing. He actually called and said, "Hey, man, are you crazy?" I said, "Sure, what do you need?" And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Let me see. And all right, so let's talk a little bit about the conditions on set. I've seen lots of stuff, and I've heard lots of stories regarding you guys being on set for like 13 to 20 hours on set. Talk about some of the conditions and you know, basically just tell us, you know, how it was.
Well, it was Texas in August when I was there, so it was very uncomfortable. I guess I got there in July, so I was there in July and August. It was very, very hot and rough conditions, and we didn't really have. There was no escape from the heat. We didn't have any. We didn't have air-conditioned trailers and all that sort of thing. No cooling tent. Any of the things you'd have on a big budget film, we didn't have that stuff. I remember the morning I arrived, they were setting up a long dolly shot out through the weeds and the mesquite, and the crew was just all wearing cut-off jeans, no shirts, and snake leggings. You know, big thick leather rather, big thick leather leather leggings that came up to their knees to keep the coral snakes and the rattlesnakes, of course, Texas, from biting them. It was miserable. And then those of us like Gunnar and I, who had you know, latex makeup on, it was awful. You know, mine was actually prosthetics, so it was glued down. Gunnar could take his mask off, but they'd only let him take it off if we were going to break for like a half an hour or more, you know. Wow. So they'd always say like, we're going to take 5, but then it'd be, you know, way longer. But so he never got to take his mask off. It was terrible, just terrible. But it was my first film, so I didn't know any better, you know. Yeah, maybe it's always like this. I don't know.
So in the makeup in the room, like, I mean, you must have been, so the degrees outside was really, you know, probably 100, so 120, maybe it was 150 in the room. I guess you had the hot lamps at the you know, the final scene with Marilyn there, and you know, when
yeah, in the house, we were shooting around the clock at that point, really. So they had the windows were all closed, and there was black cloth over all the windows, and to keep the ambient light from coming, or the outdoor light from coming in.
Sure.
And then they slapped up about 12,000 watts of tungsten. You know, it was very, very, very hot. And I remember there was one like old box fan in the corner that they, between setups, they did, and kind of just, it'd go like chick, 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 didn't do shit, you know. So it had to be well over 100 degrees, you know, well over 100 degrees in that room. There was no ventilation at all. So when you get enough time between setups, you'd go outside, even though it was 95 degrees outside. It was, you know, you maybe catch a breeze or, you know.
Yeah. was there any preparation for the grandpa role? I know essentially you're sitting, you know, in a wheelchair or chair or whatever, and was there any preparation at all, or was it did you just swing it?
Preparation, I don't know. I was in great shape, you know, because I was a 20-year-old actor.
Yeah.
And I worked out all the time, and I fenced, and I did, you know, gymnastics and everything. So I think that helped with just keeping from having a fucking stroke or something. But as far as preparation, the direction that what Kim talked to me about was that it's an embryonic old man. He's gotten so old, he's reverted to just being an embryo, being an infant.
Yeah.
Or even just embryonic. And he said, "Have you ever seen a newborn baby nurse
Yeah.
on his mother?" And I had nieces and nephews and stuff, and I certainly had. And he said, "You know how they start working their hands, and then pretty soon their knees come up, and they get so excited." I said, "Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about." So that's what we were shooting for, you know, an old man baby nursing kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So what was it like to work with the cast? You know, Ed and Marilyn and just, you know, Gunnar. What were they like?
Everybody was great, you know, because we were all young, and we're doing this film for the summer. And Marilyn had done one film, I think. Gunnar it was his first film. It was my first film. I think it was Ed's first film. Jim Seedow had worked quite a bit. For the most part, we were young theater actors.
Yeah.
You know, from the theater program at the University of Texas. I was in the theater program at the Art Institute of Chicago when they had one there.
Okay.
And but we were all in it together, and we supported each other, and they were all. I didn't work directly with a good deal of them, but I did work as a production assistant because I had to kill 3 weeks between the time I sat for makeup and the time they actually shot me, because the makeup had to be designed and created and everything. So I was out there working, and so I was with them. I had lunch with them. I talked with them. I worked alongside of them, and you know, I drove a truck and hauled, went and picked up props and stuff like that.
Okay. They call that a runner?
Yeah, just a gopher, I guess. All around, just a PA.
Yeah.
I did. I recorded chicken sounds. You know, I did all sorts of shit. I helped record chicken sounds. You know, that chicken in the parakeet cage. It's just, that fucking thing. Well, I was like laying on the floor with like a stick, with like a broomstick or something, poking the cage and trying to get the chicken to make noise and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so stuff like that, whatever needed to be done. If I was standing around, they'd say, "Hey, John, do this." I was the one that did the blood on the side of the van, all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, when Ed whenever he did the wrist, cut his whatever. Yeah, in the van. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was you that put the blood on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the one that put the blood on there. Yeah.
So the conditions in the house itself. I mean, were you guys like, what the heck? Like, what are we kind of getting into? And is it, did anybody want to throw up? Was there any,
There was, I think there were people, there were some crew members that had to go outside and puke. But it was mostly because the smell was so bad in there.
Oh,
we had all those human bones and animal bones, but we had actual human bones.
Wow.
But we had roadkill and shit in there. Bob Burns, Robert Burns, the production designer, he and his girlfriend Mary, who was also the everything. She was a script girl, probably second assistant director, second AD, script supervisor. She stunted. She doubled and stunted for Marilyn. And she also lived with Robert. And on their days off, their idea of a good time was to go out in the country and pick up roadkill and shit and take it back to his shop and like boil the meat off of it for the, you know,
Oh, oh
yeah,
shit.
for props for him, you know, or however they prepared that stuff. But they just, you know, drive around and toss shit in the back of his truck, you know.
Wow.
So we had stuff. So, you know, once things, the light started heating everything up, the smell got pretty bad in there. You know, we had animal skins and bones and then all that meat on the table, you know, which it wasn't hot enough to cook, but it wasn't cool enough to keep it from rotting. So it was, you know, it was just starting to kind of just decompose in front of our eyes.
So
it really added to the atmosphere.
Well, I guess, yeah, it added to the element of what was going on for sure. But I mean, us as watchers, thanks for sharing that with us, because I would have thought it was just fake stuff. But
no, actually, they found out that you can't buy and sell human bones in the United States, so we got them from India.
Really?
But it was way cheaper than like fake bones, you know, like plastic ones. It was way less expensive because they wanted a lot of bones, you know. And we had all sorts of teeth and all sorts of weird shit there, feathers and fur, and it was disgusting.
Jeez. All right. Well, let's just shoot on for a second. Did you always want to be an actor? Was that a thing that you always wanted to do growing up?
It started, I'd always been very outgoing. You know, I was like the MC of the neighborhood talent contest a couple of years in a row on my grandmother's block, you know. Get out there, tell a couple of jokes, introduce the girls in a twist contest, whatever the hell it was, you know. And I was really good at it.
For the days.
I always kind of liked an audience, but I didn't really start getting involved in it until I was in high school. And then it was kind of for a strange reason. In the 60s, we had really strict dress codes. Because going to school was more about discipline than it was about learning. It was about how to be a proper citizen, you know. And the drama teacher lady, the head of the drama department, they were doing a period piece, and she put out the word that any boy who got cast in this play wouldn't have to get his hair cut for like 6 weeks. So she had the biggest turnout ever for an audition for a play for boys.
Oh,
for
wow.
male actors, yeah. Because usually the girls would have to double. They wouldn't have enough guys and stuff, you know. Anyway, so I auditioned. I got the lead part, you know. And when that curtain came up, and that was a rush, you know. I was placed on stage, and the curtain came up, and there I was. And then it was a scene with me and the character's cousin or something. And it was a full house, and there were the lights and the people, and I thought I caught the bug, you know. I just dug it, and I found out there was actually a thing called, you know, drama school.
Okay.
And there was one the Goodman Theater in Chicago, at the Art Institute of Chicago, had a theater school, and I auditioned, and I got in, you know. So
nice.
That's just what happened.
That's awesome.
And here I am.
That's a great story. That's a great story.
Talking about the movie I ever did 44 years later.
Jeez, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you and I were talking a little like this past week, and I learned that, you know, your parents are from Galway, Ireland, and I told you that I was born in Belfast. So we were talking a
my
little.
Grandparents were from Galway.
I'm sorry.
My grandparents were from Galway.
Oh, your grandparents. I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. And you were talking about being over there. Have you ever done any Comic Cons over there or horror cons?
I did Dublin Comic Con two summers ago, or maybe 3 summers ago. I guess I could look at my passport to tell you, but
that's okay.
Yeah, I died there. I didn't do well at all. They had a bunch of people from Star Trek there who did well, and and all the business was down at that end. And Michael Rooker was there from I don't know, Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, yeah.
Yeah, he was there. And now Guardians of the Galaxy, but they hadn't shot that was not out yet. But he was there. So I didn't make a whole lot of dough, but I had a ball because they couldn't get me in the hotel there. When's the last time you were in Dublin?
Oh, 2005.
Yeah, it was a convention center hotel right on the River Liffey, down towards the end, where it empties out, and
Yeah.
and that's where all the action happens. And they couldn't get me in Saturday night; they could only get me a room Friday and Sunday. So they just put me in a B&B in some little village about 30 miles outside of Dublin. And the people that own the B&B also own the Fergusons. It was Fergie's Pub was the name of the place, right across the street. They own the fucking 100-year-old pub there. So,
Nice.
God, I had a rocking good time. I fit right in, man. My driver came to pick me up on Sunday, and I was just sitting in the old part of the pub. They had added on to it, and they had a dining room and the place for live music and stuff. But the original old pub, I was sitting in there with the locals, and they were watching the ponies, the races on the telly there, and placing bets and all that stuff. And I was just sitting drinking pints with the old guys like me, and my driver came in to pick me up, and he looked around, and he walked over, he goes, "Jesus, you fit right in here. I didn't realize that was you, I had a really good time there.
Yeah.
I'd go back in New York a minute.
Oh, absolutely. It's people out there that are watching, I'm telling you, Ireland is the place to go and visit for sure. The time, you know what, you're drunk the whole time, but you have, I don't know. I can't even describe. You have to go and.
You're not really drunk. It's the fine art of maintaining a buzz. It is, Sean.
That's
you
it.
get yourself. Get yourself to a certain. That's the true art of the Irish drinker. Is you get yourself to a certain level and you keep it right there.
Absolutely. That's.
You don't want to get too drunk because then you have to go pass out or something. So you want to keep it going. You have to keep a certain level there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I wanted to come back to Chainsaw for a moment. It was banned in countries. How did you guys take that? How did
I thought it was kind of overkill. It was England. It was banned in England for years. It was banned in Germany until about 7 years ago or something.
Wow.
Eastern European countries, Bulgaria. I think that's a bit much, really. But I think at the time in 1974, but it's like they never went back and reviewed it again. They never really went and looked at it again.
Mm-hmm.
And once somebody finally did, they thought, "Oh, this is ridiculous. There's not even any blood in this thing."
Right.
It was all the violence is implied, really. There's a lot of psychological torture in it,
No. Yeah.
But you don't see a lot of blood and guts,
No,
People think they saw it, though. It's all in your head. Your head finishes the image. It's just, but it's implied violence.
I think it was more so the disturbing scenes. The girl, Marilyn at the end, she just screaming her head off. And when you had the hammer and bring her on down. She's at the end of the table and she wakes up, and I think it was, and the eyes, the close-ups.
Yeah.
You're right. I think it's more in people's heads psychologically than more so, like you said, the no blood, or you see some gory stuff out today. Oh my gosh.
But I've had arguments with people about it. I said, "Don't argue with me. I was there." They talk about Franklin. I've had a couple guys say, "Man, when that guy in the wheelchair, when he gets cut in half, and you see the chainsaw going into his guts, and the guts, you don't see that. It's all shot from behind. It's in silhouette from behind."
Yeah.
But people swear they see his guts flying out.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So you say, no, it's in your own sick fucking mind, Daddy-O. Don't blame us.
Yeah. I'm just going to turn gears a little bit. How did you take all the deaths that have happened, with Marilyn and, just
Gunn
the
and Toby
and how have you handled all that, John?
Each one hurts, Each one, you die a little bit along with them. And it's very sad that we're, our numbers are dwindling. The people who are, that's been 44 years, and people are going to get old and die, or get sick and die, and it's sad, And Toby dying just just last month. He was only 10 years older than me, so and he died of natural causes. Gunnar was only 6 years older than me.
60, yeah.
Marilyn was 4 years older than me. I mean, it's scary for one thing.
Yeah.
Well, your own mortality kind of slaps you in the face. But and it's just sad that we aren't all together to get together once or twice a year and party and see our fans and stuff.
Yeah. And it's amazing, there's been a lot of people that have gone and you look back and you go, wow, it's I'm going to change the gears here because I just didn't, I didn't want to say that,
Okay.
But anyway, thanks for sharing that with me. So we talked about the movie being banned. So in 2013, you had the chance to reprise the role as Grandpa. So how was that experience? And
it was great. It was really great. Really great. I really enjoyed it. I had an air-conditioned trailer.
Yeah.
They paid me very well on time. So those are three things I didn't have in 1973. And Gunnar and Marilyn and I were all there the same week.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And after my first day, Gunn was already there. Marilyn and I came in on the same day. And we both worked the second day we were in town. And Carl Massacone, the exec, was nice enough to schedule us a down day, all three at the same time. And we went out and had lunch and sat and drank and ate and drank and drank.
Nice.
And it's funny because Gunnar was not that heavy a drinker because, well, he's diabetic. So he had to kind of watch it. But he had a few that day. But anyway, the dinner crew came in and were starting to set up around us for dinner. We were still sitting at this table. I said, guys, we got to find a bar. These poor people need to get set up, and they want to make a little money tonight. We've been camping at this table for like 4 hours. So we left there, found a tavern.
Right.
We had just a great time, and I'd do it again. New York Minute, and to see those two again, to work with them again, it was great.
Yeah,
it was a good time.
Obviously, the set conditions were a lot. How was the? You already said it, but I mean, what was it like being on this set compared to the other one? I mean, obviously, it was.
Oh God, it was amazing. It was much different, and also to have the makeup on, 40 years later. It was 38 years later. To be wearing the grandpa makeup again, and the makeup had changed. The makeup process has changed. They weren't. I was one of the last people they ever used that liquid latex process on. It was going to foam latex, and now it's gone to silicone.
Silicone, yeah.
So this did silicone on me, and it's wonderful. It's like a second skin. And it's a lot more comfortable. I'm not going to say it's real comfortable, but it's a lot more comfortable.
Right.
Plus, I had an air-conditioned trailer of my own, and but it was like having I just sat in my trailer alone because it was again we're in Louisiana in freaking July or August or something. It was 103 degrees at 10:30 in the morning, Sean. I walk out of my trailer. Here I am in full makeup, a wool suit, shirt, tie, leather shoes.
Yeah.
And Carl Massacone, the exec, standing there with some money people from New York, which I didn't realize. He said, John, come here. I want to introduce you to somebody. I walked over and said, what the fuck, Carl? I I said, what is it? I said, 40 years later, here I am, makeup, costume, and it's 100 degrees outside. You've never heard of winter time or autumn or something? What is your problem? And he goes, John, I'd like you to meet Mr. So-and-so. And Mr. So I was like, oh, yeah. But there was, there was a way to escape the heat.
Yeah.
And the food was good. The food was actually the food was really good on the original Chainsaw too.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, Ted Nicolau, who was he was our sound guy. He's a director now, but Ted's wife was the caterer, and she did all these organic hippy dippy stuff that was really really good.
Oh yeah.
Greens and grains and all sorts of great sort of organic health food kind of stuff. It was marvelous. The food was very good on Chainsaw.
That's awesome.
I can't remember what her name was now, but
that's all right.
Some time ago.
We got some questions. I've already been going down the list of people that have been asking questions. There's one here that comes in. They were asking about playing Dr. Harper on the adaptation of Stephen King's The Boogeyman? How was that? That's from Glenn.
Are you familiar with the Dollar Babies program?
Yeah.
I think it's called Dollar Babies. So this filmmaker from Indianapolis, Bobby Easley, paid $1 to Stephen King for the rights to The Boogeyman.
Oh, okay.
And the only stipulation is you can't make money at it. He can't. Bobby Easley can't make money at it. I can make money.
Okay.
I got paid.
Yeah.
But it's just for filmmakers to show off their talent so you can show it at like film festivals and things like that.
Sure.
And to showcase your own talent, show it to people. This is what I can do.
Right.
And it was wonderful playing that character. I enjoyed it. And the young man who played the main character, it was his first film, and he did a marvelous job. He's really good in it. If you get a chance to see it, you really should. Get a hold of Bobby Easley. He'd probably send you a link to it or something.
Sure.
But I enjoyed it a lot. And I've done actually this film here, Devil Dogs of Kilo Company, is a film that Bobby did. It's an animated World War II movie made with little green army men.
Okay. There
little
it is.
Green Americans and little gray Germans. And tanks and howitzers and stuff. Stop motion.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really a fucking hoot. And I play Colonel Tanaka or something like that. You inspire me, Marines. That sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That hurt. I've done like 3 films with him now. So most recently, a film called Belly Timber, which is about 90 minutes long. It's about cannibals in the colonial Midwest, kind of like the late 1700s in Indiana.
Oh yeah.
They're originally from like Scotland or Ireland or something. And they've come to the United States and carried on with their cannibalistic ways. It's called Belly Timber. And I'm missing something, but I guess that's it. That's 3 films I've done.
And I was also going to ask you, that was a great segue into what I was going to ask you. So you touched on some of the projects that you've done, and one of them is the Rock Paper Dead. Now, I know we said earlier, you said to me that you couldn't say much about it, but can you talk just a little about it?
Yeah, I can. Of course I can. Great. Rock Paper Dead is a film that is written by Victor Brook Miller, who wrote the original Friday the 13th.
Yes. And
Kerry Fleming is his co-writer, and it's his first screenplay that has been produced. Kerry's, and I've been a friend of Vic Miller for 8, 9, 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And he wanted me for this film. So and he stood up, when they were saying, "Can't we get somebody local?" as in L.A. because they didn't want to pay to fly me out and put me up and everything. He went to bat for me and said he really, really wanted me to do this. So I play Uncle Charles, who's a very, very bad man. Very bad man. Very bad. his, his sexual appetites lean to the perverse, anyway.
Okay.
And it's a film about and I'm not the main bad guy. I play the uncle of the main bad guy, so who was kind of the reason this guy turned into a bad guy, So it's anyway. It should be released, hopefully, within the next month or so. We're going to premiere it sometime in October.
That's great.
Hopefully.
And what are the
I should find out this week about that.
Sorry,
it has Michael Madsen.
Okay. Oh, Michael Madsen. Yeah.
Tatum O'Neal. Me, of course. Maureen McCormick from the original Brady Bunch. Marsha Brady, yeah.
Right.
Is in it. And I spent a couple weeks in LA and had a great time. And I'm hoping it turns into a franchise because I can use the word. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Just saying, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Where is it going to be released? Is it going to be in films? It'll
be a theatrical. It'll be a theatrical release, theatrical film.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
This is not a straight to video thing. So.
All right.
This is a real movie, a Hollywood movie.
Real Hollywood. I kind of remember there was Ari Lehman from Friday the 13th was also.
Ari's in it.
Yeah.
Ari is in it, and you really need to see it just to see Ari die.
Just to see Ari die.
Was that a spoiler? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't die.
I don't know.
Who knows? He may not be dead, but yeah. You need to see it just for Ari. I got that coming out, and I have Deviant Behavior, which is on the festival circuit right now, and it's winning all sorts of awards. And I play the burnout homicide detective, old gumshoe kind of guy.
Okay.
After a serial, and I'm a supporting role in it. It's not the main character.
Right.
It's I'm trying to think of the name of the production company. I feel terrible now.
That's okay.
Directed by, produced by my friend Sal, and Jacob Grimm was the director. I'm drawing a blank.
That's okay.
Eric Rodriguez plays the main role. Anyway, it's called Deviant Behavior. That's out on the festival circuit right now, so keep an eye open for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Deviant Behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? We've come to the end, and I was just going to say thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing. When you're coming up with all these questions and stuff like that, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of these questions before. You did. Thank you very much. I just really do appreciate your time. Can you please tell everyone where they could reach you if they wanted to? Do you have a website? Do you sell merch?
I don't really have a website. I do everything over. You can reach me through Facebook.
Okay.
You can private message me. I sell photos. I have an album on my Facebook page, a photo album titled "Photos for Sale."
Okay.
And contact me if you need anything.
Sure, I'll put that link down below whenever I re-edit this interview.
And I'm on the road all the time, so you can catch me out at conventions and things like that. I'll be in Bastrop, Texas, in a couple of weeks at Epic Con or something like that. But we're going back to where it all started in Bastrop, Texas. So
Nice.
excited about that. There's going to be a whole bunch of people from several different Chainsaw movies there.
Great.
You know, of the franchise. Then I'll be in Birmingham, England, Halloween weekend. The weekend before Halloween. I guess Halloween's on a Monday or something this year, I think. Monday or Tuesday. But it's like the weekend of the 27th, 28th, and 29th or something. I'll be in Birmingham, England.
Okay.
I'll be in Oberhausen, Germany. Oberhausen, Germany on
Awesome.
November 9th. Oberhausen. Doesn't that simply mean attic? Does it mean attic? Oberhausen? I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'll be in Hazard, Kentucky, not Hazard, Kentucky, Harlan, Kentucky,
Harlan.
on the 7th and 8th of October. I got all sorts of stuff coming up. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Well, again, there you go, everybody. Like to thank John Dugan, my guest this week. Rockin' Boxes Presents. What a great guy. And I'll put all those links that he mentioned down below, as well as some of the cons that he's got coming up. And everybody that joined us, that watched, thanks a lot. Rockin' Boxes Presents, like I always say at the end of my videos, be good to one another, guys. And I love you guys, and thanks for watching. And John, you want to just say bye-bye, everybody?
bye-bye.
Style.
That's all, folks.